Hey everyone, Ivy League Gaming here, and today we're playing Raid Shadow Legends, and we are talking new champions for the Doom Tower rotation. Now, I just got word of these, so we had plenty of time to prep a little video for you guys and give you an update. We're going to show you some visuals, and I'm going to talk skills. Now, I'm going to read them in the order we received them, so like normal Doom Tower and hard Doom Tower. I'm assuming that these are the orders these are going to come out in. Maybe not, they didn't clarify. And we don't know who's going to empower these champions as of yet. If I find out that information before this video goes live, I'll be sure to add it into the video. But at this time, our contact said they're not confirmed for which champions will be empowering these guys, but it's all good here. I know people are finishing up the current fragment champions in Doom Tower, normal and hard, so what's next, right? What's next? First up here we have ZXG, probably butchering the name, tried Googling how to pronounce it, a little bit wishy-washy, but anyway, I'm going to read through these skills slowly so you guys can take a look and think about them here. Attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing an extra hit. Always nice for an A1, simple enough. Alright, A2, attacks one enemy, will ignore shield and block damage buffs. Places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn if this attack kills an enemy. That is on a 5-turn cooldown. At least I'm assuming these are unbooked. We don't know the books. Alright, the A3, Ancient Rage, places a 30% increased crit damage buff and a 50% increase attack buff on this champion for 3 turns, then grants an extra turn. Love it. The self buff, then going, kind of like Genbo. Really cool. Not quite sure what faction this champion's in. We don't have that information of force and whatnot, but affinity and whatnot as well, but we're gonna roll with the skills here. There's also a passive, Assassin of Kings. Whenever this champion kills an enemy, decreases the cooldown of Crown Breaker skill by 1 turn. So that's ignoring shield and block damage buffs. And placing a block damage on herself. Love it. Really cool. Alright, next. Next we have Liberga. She's super freaking cool looking. Look at that skin. That is so interesting. Love the look. I'm going to change her actually real quick here. Let's take a look, guys. Let's see if I can get... I'll show you guys a visual of the whole figure. Really neat. Alright, let's get her a little bit bigger here, and I'm going to read the skills. Okay. A1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. A2 attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing 2 poison debuffs and a 25% poison sensitivity debuff for 2 turns. A cooldown of 4. A3 Vigor Bloom places a 60% increase defense buff and an increase attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. 6-turn cooldown. And A4, a passive Eradicate. When attacked, has a 50% chance of 50% chance of increasing the duration of all poison debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Love it. So this could be a really nice clan boss champion. Possibly dragon, not quite sure. We'll have to see. But sounds awesome for poison. Awesome for clan boss. Did I say poison champion? Oh god. I don't even know what I just said. Could be a good champion for clan boss as a poisoner. Plus the increased defense buff is really handy. And increase attack to increase the damage of all champions. Unless they're HP based. I take that back. But yeah, it sounds like a really great champion. We'll have to see how that works for dragon. But I love more additions of poison sensitivity in this game. We don't have that many yet. Let's see who's next. Alright, next up is Crockhearth. Now, she had such a cool weapon that I kind of had to show her full screen here. Really interesting skin. Super cool outfit. Crazy weapon. Love it. This is the 3rd of the normal Doom Tower rotation. So let's take a look. A1, Magnificent Scepter, attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of removing 1 random debuff from an ally. From 1 random ally. Will not remove a debuff from this champion. A2, attacks one enemy, places a revive on death buff on this champion for 2 turns. Cooldown of 5. A3, Lordly Might, places a 25% strengthen buff and a shield buff equal to 20% of this champion's max HP on all allies for 2 turns. 7-turn cooldown. That's probably going to require a lot of books, let's be honest. They like to make the epic champions read, don't they? And A4, it's a passive here, Great Pillar. Increases the value of all shield buffs on all allies by 15% while this champion is alive. Wait. Increases the value of all shield buffs on all allies by 15% while this champion is alive. That's different. New mechanic a little bit there. I mean, we have different ways of increasing shields, like by attacking, like Brogni, but this is definitely the first of that. Super cool. Alrighty, let's move on to Hard Doom Tower. Alright, Chromax Moonblood. First of the hard rotation, A1, Lunar Lance. Attacks one enemy, has a 60% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. The A2, Moonlight Bonds. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a block buffs debuff for 2 turns. Also fills this champion's turn meter by 30%. Nice. But it's only, these are all single target. Cooldown of 4 for that. Alright, A3, Moonblood. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing Provoke debuff for 1 turn and a 50% increase accuracy debuff for 2 turns. Cooldown of 5. And then a passive, Silver Fear. When attacked, has a 35% chance of placing a Hex debuff on the attacker for 1 turn after each hit. Alright, nice. So we got block buffs mixed with Hex, decrease attack, filling his turn meter. Sounds like it might be someone actually kind of useful for that lovely, lovely Hydra boss, but we'll have to see. Alright, let's take a look at the next one. Alright, on to the next. Looks like we have Gronjar. Alright, A1. This is a long one, guys, so hang tight. It looks like it's got a little bit of a complicated passive here, too. A1, Pyro Pummel. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 30% chance of increasing the duration of HP burn. Debuffs by 1 turn. A2, Shatter Falsity. Attacks one enemy 2 times. The first hit has a 75% chance of removing any block debuffs, buffs. The second hit has a 75% chance of removing 1 random buff except block debuffs, buffs. Cooldown of 4. A3, Fires of Auld. Attacks all enemies. Has a 75% chance of placing HP burn. Debuff for 2 turns. Also fills his champion's turn meter by 5% for every HP burn debuff the enemy team had before this attack. Cooldown of 5. So this is sounding kind of Hydra to me as well. I feel like they're trying to introduce options, although when it comes to Hydra, I really don't like the HP burn people having to attack to place HP burn. But that's alright. It's still interesting. Possibly Spider, we'll see. Assuming that book's up to 100%, so it might be a Spider champion. Alright, A4. Keeper of Flame. There's 2 parts here. A passive effect. This champion will not receive any damage from HP burn debuffs. Instead, HP burn debuffs will heal this champion by 5% each time the debuff activates. Okay, I like that. That's fun. Active effect. Whenever an enemy attempts to place a freeze debuff on this champion, instantly removes it and places it on the attacker. Also places HP burn debuff on the attacker for 1 turn. The HP burn debuff cannot be resisted. Okay, so an anti-freeze and anti-HP burn all in the same skill set. But he also places HP burn. This is definitely a quirky kit here. Seems fun. It sounds cool, but I'm not sure it's gonna translate as interesting as it does on paper, but really, really interesting. Oh, also the passive here, well, the active effect from this A4 has a cooldown of 3 turns, so the anti-freeze part here removes it and places it on the attacker. That's fun. I mean, I'm not quite sure where we would use that right now besides like against a specific champion in a Doom Tower wave or arena, or maybe Faction Wars, but there's some freeze champs. But you're not going to really be throwing an HP burn champion in arena, so not quite sure where he's going to be valued, but he's really interesting. Anyway, on to the next. Alright, and last but not least, we have General Distort. Plunging Break. A 1 attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target's skills by 2 turns at random. A 2 Befuddle. Attacks one enemy, places a stun debuff for 2 turns, will ignore block debuffs and block damage buffs. Cooldown of 4. A3-Gatewatch Stance. Places a 60% increased defense buff on this champion for 3 turns and a counterattack buff for 2 turns. Cooldown of 7. So that's probably going to book down a little bit, but counterattack just on him. I hate when it's just on him. Why can't we get more counterattacks on everyone in this game? Come on, man. Alright. Passive Laughing Gull. Increases this champion's defense each time they counterattack. Defense resets every time this champion gets a turn. When attacking, converts this champion's resistance into additional accuracy. Oh, okay. Active effect. At the end of this champion's turn, places a provoke debuff for 1 turn on all enemies under increased attack buffs. Cooldown of 4. Another, like, quirky kit, but I don't know. The problem with all these new characters that they keep coming out with, like, they're always a little bit underwhelming. And the further we get into the Doom Tower fragment champions and the rotations, the less these champions are even going to be relevant for that person's account. By the time someone's got the first 6 legendaries from Doom Tower, I mean, that's a long time of playing this game. So I don't know. It just seems like they're a little bit underwhelming again. There's definitely like there's been some epics that are amazing, like Archmage I absolutely love. But he's an epic. The legendaries, do I even use any of them? No. I don't know. It seems a little bit underwhelming. I feel like by the time people have all these new champions, it's kind of they're not even they're gonna end up being Vault Guardians most likely at the end of the day, unless there's a very quirky reason for this, or if there's upcoming content that a specific champion is really well suited for. Like they definitely did that with Hydra. They started releasing champions ahead of time that were specifically suited to Hydra, or doing buffs to champions that were suited to Hydra before Hydra was even out. So I guess we just need to keep our eyes open and try to remember some of these quirky kit champions that, as new content comes out, that may be something that we have tossed aside for a while but could become useful again. I know that they were trying to say like Tila was going to be relevant for Hydra. Don't think I've seen a single person use her though. So who knows? But anyway, guys, this is just an update for all the new champions for the Doom Tower rotation that will be coming as fragments for all the secret rooms. So I hope you guys enjoyed the information, and let me know in the comments below. Do you see any very specific uses for certain champions? Are you excited for any of these champions? Let me know, and thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.